Gary Busey stars as Millard Findlemeyer, who is executed for robbing a diner and killing Sarah's brother and father. But when Sarah accidentally mixes Findlemeyer's ashes with her gingerbread seasoning, he comes back to life looking to take revenge on those who sent him to prison. Yes, that is the actual plot to the Gingerdead Man.
That seems very thin for the plot for this movie because there's a lot of stuff that happens and not in a traditional way, I guess.
It's a complex movie.
It's very
Well,
complex.
It's a thinker for sure.
It
Yeah.
really is.
I think everything has to come
it
together.
says a lot
in
happens
order.
without without you realizing it. It's very complex.
Well, John, why don't
Yeah.
you go ahead and kick us off? What'd you like? What'd you not like about?
Oh gosh,
I know. I'm gonna kick it off with you first.
man, it was an
Right on.
experience of bakery proportions.
Oh God.
Oh dear God.
It was a baker's dozen
Oh boy.
Oh,
of
here we go.
laughs.
Oh God.
Here we
You're,
go.
you're doing as many as they did in the movie.
Exactly. No, I did like I like the concept of evil man's ashes are put in a cookie mix and you make a cookie shaped like a man. Just so happened the only thing that could possibly go that could actually become a killer, right? Or a dog maybe. But yeah, gingerbread man, and it comes alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Somehow the oven has to get hit by electricity too in order
Huge
for that to happen.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it
you
happened.
also have to have a clumsy person cut themselves,
And spill blood inside the
move their hand over the box and go, "Oh my gosh, I'm bleeding!" You know.
Immediately, that's like 10 points off the health inspection.
Right? And then they're like,
Immediately.
"Oh, it's
Blood
okay.
in
Let's
the
just
food.
keep mixing it. It's all right. Let's just
Yeah,
throw it in
it's
the oven and
fine."
see what happens."
Yeah, it
It'll
was.
just-
You know what's
it'll
weird
just be
about
like-
that?
It'll
know what's
just
really-
be like Kiss, putting their own blood into their comic book ink, their red comic book ink. They did that. I was like, well, that's odd, but I guess it works for gingerbread cookies as well. Turns them evil.
Wow.
The plot itself is super simple. Gingerbread man comes alive and starts killing people, but it's a ridiculously convoluted way to get there.
Oh yeah.
They could have just as easily kept these same plot points if Gary Busey is introduced in this movie and kills a bunch of people, and then he is sentenced to death, and then his body is put into some, I guess, ingredients, and then the ingredients get dropped off by a shady figure at the store, and then through a series of like really convoluted accidents, gets blood and electricity. They could have just put the blood in the initial batch and then sent that batch out to many places, and you would have had a much easier way to like continue this franchise on. It made way more sense. But for being such a simple plot, it's the most convoluted way to get to creating the Gingerdead Man, which was fun, but again, kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, when we were watching it, we were talking about how this is basically just a ripoff of Child's Play. The serial killer spirit gets inhabited with the doll, and then the doll goes on a killing rampage and all that. This one is a little more, God, I hate to say focused, because he's just coming back to kill the people who wronged him, as far as we know.
Yeah.
There are other sequels that we have to watch. Yeah.
Unless you start watching the sequels.
I can't believe I'm actually talking about if the lore stays true to itself in Gingerdead Man.
The Gingerdead Man purist.
Yeah. Oh man.
So after watching this movie, and also watching the sequel to this movie, I went back to the first movie and I said, well, who directed this? And it's a guy called Charles Band, which it doesn't sound unfamiliar, doesn't sound familiar. So it turns out he's done like 360 movies. So I was checking him out. Probably most known for the Trancer series, I believe from the 80s, which is like a ripoff of Blade Runner, which is kind of awesome. And then he's also known for doing the Puppet Master series. And again, the guy's got 350 movies. It's kind of crazy. But here's what's interesting about it. So I'm looking it up. He actually has a company called Full Moon Productions or something like that. And
wait, does
Amazon?
Full Moon?
He's the guy behind Full Moon Productions.
That makes a lot of
Full
sense.
Moon Features. So he actually Full Moon actually has a channel on the Amazon Prime show. Like you can, or on the Amazon Prime ecosystem or app, that if you go to Google, open it, I have it on my phone right here, and it has like all the movies. Like I'm just looking at them, like Killjoy, The Puppet Master. Like every movie has a funny title on it, right? Doll Graveyard, Demonic Toys 2. So it has all the movies that I suppose he's worked on available to watch, including the Gingerdead Man. So you can, I guess you pay like a monthly fee and you subscribe to that channel on Amazon. But here's what's interesting. On top of that, there's a podcast that was just launched this year, the Full Moon Podcast. We could put links for this stuff, and because I don't know the full name and address. So I listened to the first episode thinking I'd just skip through it to see, like, what does this guy look like? But his first guest was John Carpenter, and he's actually friends with John Carpenter, and gave John Carpenter his first job in the industry.
What?
No way.
And it became like ridiculously interesting. Like it was a really well-made podcast. And so I recommend it. I believe it's just called the Full Moon Feature Podcast. It's on wherever their socials are and all their advertising. They do the audio version and the YouTube version. So I actually watched the YouTube version. And he knows tons of like actors and actresses before they were famous. So I actually really enjoyed him. Seems very level-headed, knowing that he was making kind of low budget horror movies. He doesn't think these are masterpieces that should have Oscars. So a little bit of positive to go with what I'm sure is going to turn into a mostly negative discussion. But yeah, I found all that out just before watching it. And I'm definitely gonna listen to more of his podcast. It was great.
So I guess he's kind of like the modern day Roger Corman in a way, because Roger Corman was known for all these crazy B movies and everything, but
actually,
it's crazy. Don Dohler.
Yeah.
But Full Moon, they're really known for, they buy rights to low budget movies really, really cheaply, and then they back when DVDs and Blu-rays were like a big thing, they would take them and make them into these like big box sets, like 80 horror movies for $10, kind of thing.
Deal.
That is a good deal. Yeah.
Well, whatever it is, I think you overcooked it.
On the contrary, I baked up just fine.
The hell is that?
Well, it sure ain't the Pillsbury fucking dope boy.
Yeah.
Now that we've got the positives out of the way, which weren't about the movie, it was about the man himself behind the movie. I hate the cinematography in this movie.
Come now.
It's definitely not an Oscar nomination. I'd say that.
The lighting's not good either.
No.
Oh God, no! It's
terrible.
Yeah,
there's a famous scene where the power goes out in this movie, yet all the lights are still on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But listen, every scene is canted at least 45 degrees, and they'll cut to another scene. They'll cut to another shot. And it'll be canted the other way, so it's like going from this way to that.
I thought I was watching the 1960s Batman series.
Oh yeah,
because they would do that a lot.
Just got to make it exciting.
Yeah, it's creative.
Yeah, right.
I thought the movie started out strong. I don't know if you would break it down into acts. Like, is the first 5 minute one of the acts? I'm not sure.
No.
You mean the opening credits?
It's like
the 5 minutes? Or
oh my goodness, how long are the opening credits of this movie? It's ridiculous. It's like 4 minutes or something. The opening credits, and nothing's happening. There's only 8 people in the movie. How is the opening credits 4 minutes long?
And then the end credits are like 10 minutes long.
It's like you're like 80% of the way through the movie, and it's like the end, and then that's 20% of the movie is
slow. Yeah, it's the slowest crawl of credits.
Yeah. And are there like multiple people in like multiple roles, like over and over again?
Oh yeah,
yes.
That's how the low budget films work.
I thought
we all carry many hats, or we all wear many hats.
On a positive spin, I thought it started out pretty strong. You get the Gary Busey in there, and it it cuts straight to the point of the movie.
Yeah, the diner scene was actually pretty well done, I thought. But besides, Gary Busey's he's just
overacting.
Weird. Yeah, it is. When he's screaming, he's shooting.
No. It's not overacting. It's acting for Gary Busey.
It's just Gary Busey. Yeah,
it's just Gary Busey's acting.
Oh man.
Mother.
Do you think there was a script for that scene?
Okay, so here's the problem. If you're having to ask if there is a script for a scene in a movie, then we've got a problem on the outset of this.
Do you think there? I mean, I think there was direction. Like you all stand here and you say this, and I feel like Gary Busey just made everything up in that because there's all these like really awkward pauses and terrible punchlines that like you wouldn't write those punchlines.
Did you watch the movie?
I was in my mind. I'm going, how in the world is Gary Busey remembering his lines? So maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't remembering his lines. Maybe he was actually. It was just full on Busey. Maybe Charles went Busey it up. Just do it.
This was released in 2005, so probably shot around 2003, 2004, something like that.
Well, and I did read somewhere that they offered him $25,000 to act in this movie. And they were thinking, I was like, well, 25,000 is probably not going to be that great. He's probably going to decline it, but he immediately jumped on it and was like, yeah, I'll do it. And they're like, what?
Well, I mean, $25,000. He's probably
That's
spent
nothing
for
that's
2
needed.
hours. 2 hours on set to shoot
I
the
mean, we're not
diners.
talking about Tom Cruise here. We're talking about Gary Busey.
So
yeah.
far, the movie's good, right? I mean, we've got an Oscar nominee, maybe. For the first 5 minutes.
I don't know.
I would say it's in the other spectrum of the Razzies.
Yeah. Oh, it starts to fall apart real fast though.
Yeah.
the directing of this movie. I don't know if this is just bad script writing or they just bad directing in here, but they decided to not cover any of the stuff before where he goes to prison. This is all done through like dialogue of this one lady reading this random news article. So none of it is kind of covered about like really what happened. And the reason I'm saying this is because if you go and look at the synopsis for this movie online, a lot of times they will say, I'd say like 9 out of 10 synopsises online will say that his mother is a witch who brought him back to life. But to me, you don't get that at all by watching this movie.
Oh, is she the figure that drops off the box?
That right before you got on, we were talking. Yeah, we were thinking that that's what it is.
Oh, I thought that was like death or something. I didn't.
See,
I
I
had no
got
idea
that.
that was a mother.
I got that as a fan of Butt Crack, the movie Butt Crack, where his sister.
That's a good
is
one.
Cut that. Just cut. I'm a fan of Butt Crack. Just,
Just do that.
that's
I'm gonna
the
split
that
that for later. Yeah.
Title.
I know what I was doing there. Yeah, where his sister brings him, where she's a voodoo priestess, and she brings her brother back to life to get his revenge. I saw the cloaked figure. I'm like, oh, well, that must be his mother.
So
It
that's
just- I don't know.
it never went into my head that it doesn't lead you to that in any way, and I didn't understand that until I read the synopsis online. I was like, what? Okay, I
She's
guess
basically bringing like the ready mix pancake mix. It's like just add water, right? So it's
Oh no, and
gingerbread.
blood.
Well, no. In
And
gingerbread
electricity.
cookie thing, it's basically just like just add this and this and this and that and this. So it's I would bet that she wasn't the one who brought him back. You know?
Well, and if you're a witch and you're going to bring your son back, why would you force him to be a gingerbread man? That's the bigger question here.
Well, because you got to infiltrate from within. Justin, come on.
I guess.
And
I guess she
somehow
knew that Sarah worked there, so
Yeah, and
Maybe
somehow
she-
get
she
knives rigged to where they're booby trapped and they're gonna, hit right on the forehead and
Maybe we're just
Revolvers with
missing something.
infinite
Maybe she wanted
bullets.
him to be eaten
yes.
because remember he was eaten,
Mhm.
and then he inhabited. He possessed the guy who ate him.
But like,
Yeah.
why would you come
Maybe that
alive and
was
run
the-
around? If you want it to be eaten, just pretend to be a cookie.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna eat you.
But then we wouldn't have a movie, Rowan.
Because I thought that. I was like, if the goal is to be eaten, just be a cookie. Quit running around killing people. Let someone eat you.
And oh my god, it's so creepy. Why did they give this thing teeth? Did you notice?
Oh yeah.
that?
Yeah. This thing looks terrible.
Like she makes this cookie that's like a foot tall, and she just
It
drills
is a
up her
big ass
mouth and
cookie.
everything. Oh yeah,
That was.
It is. It was like, was that the gingerbread man display cookie? I mean, I don't. It's like, here, here's the gingerbread man.
I have
He
seen
eats Vaughn.
gingerbread that large, and yeah, John, you're right. They put it like as a big display thing. It's like a centerpiece to like little ones. So
Mhm.
maybe that's what she was making. I don't know. See
Well,
now,
and apparently it was cream filled, or not cream filled, but like raspberry filled too. Because when the
When
amateur
Brick-
wresler guy
Oh my
wanted
God,
to,
the amateur
to take
wrestler.
his
He's great.
head off or something, and like the raspberry stuff came out, I'm like, what the hell? Is
Well, see,
that?
I thought that just happened because the electricity hit the oven and he became alive, and so it was actually that was his blood.
that's what I
Okay.
thought. Yeah.
That's what I
Right.
thought.
So
I
he's
thought there
basically
was-
eating his
yeah.
own blood.
What post the Gary Busey scene? So Gary
Mhm.
Busey comes in. They cut to like the rest of the movie. You've got the what's her name again? Sarah.
Sarah Leigh.
She's the main, essentially the protagonist, right? But the first guy they introduce is awesome. His name is Brick,
Oh,
and
Brick.
but what's his wrestle name? It's like
Oh,
Brick
the
Baker.
Baker Butcher.
the Baker
Yeah.
Butcher, or the
Baker
Butcher.
He's
Baker.
great.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Now he's not in the movie, but for about 3 minutes.
I've got 2 tickets for tonight's WrestlePalooza. They're even gonna let amateurs compete tonight. A mosh pit of tag team damage and body slammage. This could be my shot at the big time. And in this corner, straight from Hell's Kitchen, the Butcher Baker.
He's good. And then the next character they introduce, like Drunk Mom.
You bastards think they're going to get the better of me, do they? See about that.
They're just like randomly drunk mom. There's a drunk mom on the street shooting a gun
That's
at a
right.
building, like committing arson.
Drunk
Those characters are great.
gun-toting Betty.
Yeah,
Right.
she's the most accurate shotgun from across the street I've ever seen, like in a movie. Like she shoots like 2 shots and it hits the nails or whatever's holding up the banner each time, like just
Wow.
perfectly.
While
And the
drinking.
control she has while drinking, and the control of the shotgun she has. I mean, when I shoot a shotgun, it's all over the place, but she's just bam.
Maybe
It's
the
too
drinking
bad
makes her
that,
better.
That's was too bad that the Gingerdead man chopped off her finger.
Got her trigger finger
Yep, got it right off.
Yeah,
with her wedding ring on it.
yeah, Rowan, you said that was your favorite character in the movie.
Oh, I loved her.
Yes.
She was great. I thought she was great. Again, she's not in the movie too much. So this is where I kind of thought this movie was on a great trajectory with the opening scene. My goodness, that long credit scene could go. Make that credit scene, the intro credit scene, about 15 seconds, not 4 minutes, however long it was. But then they introduce the characters, the main protagonist, like whatever. Then you get these 2 kind of fun characters that are introduced. But then it's pretty much downhill from there until you get to the Gingerdead guy, because all the other characters introduced are pretty flat. And you don't
Speaking
see a whole
of-
lot of these fun characters, like the drunk mom and the guy called Brick who wants to be a wrestler. Who, by the way, doesn't do any wrestling moves in the whole thing. Like you'd
No,
think
he
to be,
does that
like,
one move. Remember? The ass is
Mm.
toast.
Now it's time to meet your maker. Prepare to face the Butcher Baker. For tonight, your ass is toast.
You gotta be shitting me.
But he does that. No, yeah, he does that in front. I meant like there's a scene where he comes back to triumphantly fight the Gingerdead man, and you'd think he'd like suplex him or something, or use like a wrestling pun, or
Or at
He
least
was
kick him
wearing
across the
his-
room.
He was
was a
wearing
special
his wrestling gear.
and his
Yeah.
racquetball goggles or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of characters, the other thing that threw us off when we were watching this was the random introduction of the
Amos.
boyfriend, Amos. Like he just
Amos,
seems to
yeah.
come in from out of nowhere, and like when we were watching, we were like, "Who is this guy? Where did he come from?" Like he just knows to go in the back of this bakery and start talking to everybody. But it turns out it's the boyfriend of the blonde who is
Lorna.
the daughter, Lorna, who's the daughter of Jimmy Dean. Jesus Christ. the
That's
rich
Oscar.
Texan who wants to take over the town, one restaurant at a time, I guess.
One bakery at a time.
Yeah. But he's we had a lot of problems with this character. Starting from his acting.
And then carrying around this giant 44 Magnum around.
Also,
and,
his shorts go down to his ankles. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, just wear pants.
exactly.
Dude,
That
so this
apparently
was the
had
90s.
yeah. This
No, it's
this
2005.
pistol that he had apparently had unlimited ammo.
Yes.
Especially when the
Mhm.
Gingerdead man got a hold of it. I think we counted over 20 times
I
that
think
he
it's more than
shot.
that, dude.
It was nuts. Just in that one scene where he was holding this giant pistol. Of course he's 1 foot tall, and as Rowan puts it, he's a cute little guy. It's just like pew, 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 pew.
It's
shooting everything.
He's got as much ammo as like the Nazis did in Saving Private Ryan on the beach scene.
Oh, I know. That's
Right.
terrible on the single
Yeah.
shot, pistol.
Well, it was funny because when we were watching it, I noticed Kyle knows a lot about guns, and he's like counting. Like, obviously they're gonna make a flub here, right? But then the number got so high. It
was like in the
started to be
40s.
awesome. Yeah. I
I'm
want to say they shot it like in 30s or 40s, like a lot. I don't remember how much they shot it, but the number got above 20, and it just ended up being funny at that point.
Yeah, it was pretty hysterical. Oh, and then the total, like, the car that I think Amos drove up on,
Oh yeah.
and when the dad came up, Jimmy Dean came up to save his little girl, and then Gingerdead man got into the car, but on the outside it was like a Camaro or
Mhm.
something, but on the inside it was like a 60s Mustang.
Yeah,
And
because
it-
it had
and
the
it really
floor mat
caught
of
me
like
off
a
guard.
Mustang logo.
Yeah. And it caught me off guard, and I'm like, wait a minute. He just got into a Camaro of some sort, and now the internals are a Mustang? Like, what kind of car is this? Like, only the best in Texas, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, so basically Sarah, she makes the cookie, he comes to life, we meet idiot Amos, and then they shoehorn in this love story between
Oh, the
Amos
love
and Sarah.
triangle. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the love
they-
triangle, really.
They forced
Single
it.
worst thing in this movie. I mean, it's like it's you can just fast forward through the whole thing. Man, there's that one really awkwardly long scene where there's a pole in the middle of them. I don't quite remember. Do you remember the dialogue? It's like 6 minutes of, "Oh, I think you're cute and I love you," and there's just a pole that runs right through the.
Yeah,
right
they're like
between the
both
two
leaning on the
characters.
pole. Like, and it's like,
Oh my goodness!
Gotcha.
I'm wondering if they were trying to do something intelligent, where typically in movies, if you have some object like in between two characters, that means that the two characters are psychologically opposed or something, like that, like as a framing technique, as a subconscious technique to get character motivations across. But I'm not going to hand that to them.
I think it was a bad
Okay.
shot.
All right. So I totally forgot about the scene, but the scene where I guess it was her helper, Sarah Leigh's helper, that just made a mass exodus on the screen, and we didn't see her for a long time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
all of a sudden she's there, I guess naked, but with just covered in whipped cream and 2 cherries. And I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah, she wasn't
everybody's
naked.
like,
You
oh
could
my gosh.
you can see some of her clothes through the frosting or whatever.
It's like whipped cream or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's whipped cream. Yeah,
But she's also frozen, right? Isn't she frozen?
well, yeah, she
She
gets
was in the
knocked
fridge
out
or
in
a
the
freezer or
freezer,
something. Yeah. That's
which
right.
is coincidentally the same place that is the baking, the oven. It's like the same.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah, they use it interchangeably.
It's like one of
Yeah.
those stupid, washer dryer combo mixes that after it gets done washing it then freezes it or dries it. So this one, the oven gets done baking and then it immediately turns to a freezer.
Who's the first victim in Gingerdead Man? Is it the it's
Drunk mom, I
the
think.
drunk mom, right? Drunk grandma.
Well, it would be the.
Actually,
well, I
it's
mean,
the-
technically, it would be the dad, right?
The dad was the first victim, technically.
I thought
And
the
then the son.
grandma
Well, Gary
happened
Busey
earlier.
that's at the very start of the movie.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I meant when he is in evil gingerbread man form.
Oh, so not Gary, not okay, not Millard, but
Yeah,
Gingerdead Busey.
Gingerdead. Millard.
Gingerdead Busey.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the cool scene with a drunk grandma trying to poke him like the pills
I
are
think you're
available.
right. Yeah.
Ever try a lady finger?
And they drag that scene out so long. It's like 10 seconds of her looking through the camera with like ET going like this,
Now, before that, though, I did have to actually pause it because I laughed. I did laugh pretty hard whenever she's drinking her John Daniels, and she sees this. She's just talking gingerbread man, and she's like, "Well, that's enough of that."
Yeah.
Puts the bottle down.
John Daniels. Is that what
Well,
the
yeah, because
when
label
you
actually
know him
says?
as well
Faked
as
it.
she does.
Oh,
you go it on a first name basis.
Yeah,
I always
it's
call
the
him
scent of
Jack.
a woman, guys.
Ah,
Yeah. So so we see yeah, what was the name of the helper, the other assistant who got creamed up?
I don't know. I can't find her.
No idea.
Name.
She's the one that gives all the backstory when the movie starts about
Yes.
Busey's in the newspaper. I have she's like on scene for 3 minutes total.
Yeah.
I think she's just on scene at the start, gives the backstory, and then I think she just shows up dead later. Maybe she's on for a little bit more than
Yeah,
that.
she
but-
doesn't die. A little bit later, she
or,
gets hit in
or
the
shows
head
up
with
frozen. Yeah.
with a frying
She
pan or
she
something.
comes in and tries to rescue the mom.
Right.
Yep,
Tries to
she's a
rescue- Yeah,
direct
and then,
next victim. The direct next victim.
Yep, get hit over the head with a frying pan.
Yeah. Very cartoony style.
Boom.
Yeah. And then that one bitch dies.
Lorna.
Lorna. I can't.
She had the best
Yeah.
death. Yeah, the
Well, she was
blatantly
the-
walks into the booby trap. the huge 3 foot thick
Yeah.
rope at knee level.
Yeah, I'm like, and this dude, the Gingerdead man, has the time to terrorize these people and set up booby traps. It's like he's home alone.
And that was that was a complex booby trap too.
It was
It's
for
very
a
complex.
1 foot tall gingerbread man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why did they keep leaving the building and then coming back in? Why wouldn't they just leave the building?
same reason why the cell phone went dead, and they're in pretty much like the middle of the town. And I would say that there's cars driving by that you can actually say, "Hey, call the police, call 911. We have a murdering gingerbread cookie on
Well,
the
how
loose."
many people are there? And only 2 of them have cell phones?
It is 2005, right?
You know,
so
all right,
yeah,
I can
guess
buy
so.
that. I can
guess
buy
so.
that.
Pre-iPhone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Alright.
It's multiple
It is
years before
pre-iPhone.
smartphones. Yeah. It's flip phone, pager. Like
Well, and
generation.
remember, we get a lovely scene that I wanted to point this out on the show.
PDA, help, gingerbread man.
Email.
I'm sure there's an emoji for it.
Damn, my
You,
stylus broke.
So there's a scene that I wanted to bring up that I thought was pretty funny. During one of the scenes where Amos goes to get Lorna's cell phone from the car,
Yes.
he goes to get the cell phone, and we see a shot of him getting into the car. He gets the cell phone, but he also, gets his gun, and that's where the gun comes into play. But what's funny is you can see a crew member just blatantly in the background.
Oh yeah.
On a
He's got
ladder,
a ladder.
standing
Yeah.
next to a ladder, just sitting there being like, "When's this over?
Yep.
When's dinner?"
Yeah. When's lunch break? When's catering gonna get here?
I missed that. I missed that one.
Yeah, and it's so blatant.
Is her name's Lauren, right? Is she the only one who dies? Because drunk grandma does not die.
Right. She does not die.
Lana or Lorna.
Lorna.
Lorna. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Lorna's the only. Well, James Dean, or not James Dean.
Jimmy
Post.
Jimmy
Jimmy
Dean.
Dean.
Jimmy Dean
Jimmy Dean
dies.
does.
Oh,
From
crushed by the
Jimmy Dean.
car.
Yeah.
Crushed by the Camaro Mustang.
So
Yeah.
one could argue that Gingerdead Man is a hero.
Yeah.
He took out the competition
Oh, he
that
saved the bakery.
was against the bakery, so therefore he saved the business.
Wow.
Yeah, he's actually a hero.
He's the hero of the
He's a
story.
hero. It's the moral. It's like a small business.
And they
owner's
killed him for his
moral.
trouble.
Hmm.
Jerks.
Oh, Brick also died
Which
because
one?
he gets
But
he gets turned into. I guess we
Yeah,
should
the
mention at the
wrestler.
end of the movie, the way they get rid of Gingerdead Man is Brick shows up because he is coming home from his wrestling tournament.
Which he did mention he
and-
was going to.
And you
Yeah,
go
he
back
did
to
mention-
work naturally.
Yeah. So he comes back to work, and he's all dressed up in his luchador kind of looking wrestling thing. And
Dude, he looked like he was playing racquetball.
Yeah.
he did. And then so he wrestles Gingerdead man to the ground, and then he just starts eating him. And then because he ingests him, he becomes Millard Findlemeyer incarnate. And so it basically becomes a fuckhead. What's his name? Amos versus Brick. And Amos shoots him a couple times, but it doesn't do anything. And so then there is one little piece in this puzzle that I'm about to say that I did find interesting. So they started to do another love segment between the assistant and Brick. There's some lines of dialogue where you can tell that she likes him.
So now we know who's más macho, huh?
Butcher Baker.
Yeah, Butcher Baker. All right.
So they do an interesting thing in this movie where, in order to save everybody, the assistant chick she's the one that pushes Brick into the oven to kill him. So she has to kind of basically come to terms with her falling out of love with this guy. So
make a sacrifice.
Yes, exactly. You could tell that they built it that way on purpose because of the blocking that they do with the people in the scene. So I did find that was actually interesting. That's a higher level concept than anything else in this movie.
Yeah, a little bit. But because at that point you're like, okay, when's this over?
Yeah.
When can I go do something else that's a little bit better than this?
Yeah, and the movie's only 50 minutes long, so you can tell how bad that is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
Yeah,
we're missing one scene, which I cannot place in the timeline where this scene goes. There's a extended scene with Gingerdead Man arguing with a rat.
Oh yeah.
Hey, rat! Rat! I'm talking to you! You want a piece of me? Hey, you little shit! Fuck off! Come over here! I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kick your little rat ass.
I don't believe it has any purpose other than let's have Gary Busey yell at a rat.
Sort of.
Well, I think it's after when he chops off the mother's hand or the mother's finger, right?
Yes, it's after.
And she goes and runs away. They're helping her out, and then it comes back to Gingerdead Man with the knife going.
Well, see, the lore is that they caught Gary Busey arguing with this rat on set, and that's just a dialogue that they recorded.
I thought it was gonna be a prequel to Ratatouille or something.
Yeah, this is just a documentary. They just followed Gary Busey around for a day. No, actually,
remember there was that show.
Oh no, yeah, Life with Busey.
Yeah, Life with Busey.
Yeah, it was on Comedy Central, which I actually enjoyed. It was chaotic nonsense. But no, there actually is a point to it. So towards the beginning, when they don't take Dean's money to buy out the place, the daughter sneaks in and she releases the rat into the building so that they can get like health violations, so that they get closed down. There's a little scene in the beginning there, but you're right, Rowan. There's no reason for this guy to be yelling obscenities at this rat for no reason.
Yeah, it's an extended like dialogue scene.
And of course, it ends with a cliffhanger / teaser of I hope we get to make a sequel, with everything is good, Gingerdead Man is dead, and we're having a bake sale, and all these kids come around and like, hey, we want some gingerbread cookies, Gingerbread Man. And they open up this box, and they all like open their eyes and go, whisper.
Isn't every day a bake sale for them?
Your bakery. Yeah.
Waka.
Hey, Lord, I think you caught on to something there.
I like the ending. I thought the ending. Yeah, you're right, Kyle. Like they left it open to like, let's make some more of these.
What I thought was funny is like, we don't have any gingerbread men. Oh no, this box of cookies was left by this lady.
It was just delivered.
It's not our cookies. We didn't make them. Somebody brought them here. I don't even know who the lady's name was.
We'll make a quick buck here, kids.
What a random shitty ending.
Yeah, I thought it fit the movie perfectly.
And speaking of
This is
shitty endings,
I would say
well,
this is really small about the ending, but it made me laugh out loud. Is if you look at those gingerbread men, I just remember I don't know how many there are. Let's say there's 5. The bottom left one is just of lower quality than all the other ones, which just made me think they just had 5 random people make it. And one person was terrible.
It's the
Like
it's the
4 of
run.
them, yeah, 4 of them look normal, and the one on the bottom left looks just mailed in.
it might have been. I mean, could you imagine that they
For
actually
sure.
thought about the movie? Like they took a look and goes, this isn't very good for mise-en-scene, so we're going to move this shitty one over to the bottom right. I don't think they had that forethought. So, and speaking of forethought, let's go ahead. We need to decide if we need to tell viewers should they watch the Gingerdead Man.
If you're a fan of bad movies, yes, definitely watch it. I enjoyed it. But then, on the other hand, if you don't like bad movies, then don't, because you'll be disappointed that you're trying to watch a movie and it's not really a movie.
Okay, Rowan.
Okay, so you'll hate me today, but you'll love me in like a couple years from now. But I think this is a no-brainer. You got to watch it. It's awesome. You'll hate watching it initially, but in a couple years, you're going to be having a random conversation about Gary Busey or about bad movies, and then it'll all come flooding back to your memory how much you enjoyed watching this movie. If I could say anything about this movie, though, it's like the small characters were really good, but the main 3 characters with all the dialogue were really boring. And so that was kind of my problem with the movie. But overall, yeah, great. Please watch this.
Kyle.
And check out the podcast this guy did too. It's great.
Yeah. So if you have a group of friends that you want to hang out with for a night and say, hey, let's put on this movie and have a couple drinks, get some pizza, get some cookies, watch it. It's definitely fun as like a conversation starter of like what Rowan was saying. You're going to hate me today, but on down the road, you're going to reminisce on how great this movie was and how fun you had watching it. Theatrically, but terrible movie. But as something to take your mind off of what's going on in the real world, yeah, I'd watch it. I'd recommend.
Okay. Well, Kyle, you actually said exactly what I was going to say. Kyle and I went to visit Rowan, and we happened to watch this movie, the 3 of us together. I say it's tolerable with friends and booze. So that's probably the 2 requirements to really enjoy the movie. To prepare for this podcast, I watched it a second time. It was excruciating the second time. At 1x speed. I didn't watch it as 2x like Rowan did. But I'd say watch it. So we're about to head over to our Patreon only section. So if you want to hear the rest of us talking about this fantastic movie, The Gingerdead Man, make sure you jump on Patreon. You can hear the rest of the review. But if you're not, basically, thanks for joining us. We're going to be continuing our Christmas month of December, where we're going to be taking a look at a Mel Gibson movie from recent. I don't remember the year offhand. 2020. And it's called Fat Man. And it actually looks interesting. So go check out the trailer for that. And we will see you next Saturday. We're off to the members only area. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.